Thank you, Chair. I was just elected City Councillor for Davenport in Toronto. I'm here to speak for myself and for my constituents, having received from residents in my ward more than 1,000 messages repudiating Bill 39. Oh, sorry, Alejandra Bravo. This bill invalidates the will of voters in my ward and across Toronto, just weeks after a municipal election, during which the mayor who asked for these powers and the premier who agreed to grant them never, ever mentioned their secret intention to change the city's governance. The people weren't in on it. We never got to deliberate, and we never got to vote with the full knowledge of what was happening in back rooms. The irony is Bill 39 is an implementation tool of Bill 23, and we've heard from city staff and from residents and from many organizations that this is a bill that will harm municipalities in Ontario, and it does nothing to build more affordable housing, which is what we need. It reduces the democratically elected city council to a tool for an agenda of another government. By granting the Mayor of Toronto the power to overrule council and to pass bylaws with the support of only 1/3 of council members, this bill violates the most basic principle of democracy, majority rule. There isn't a corporate board, a not-for-profit board, or a legislature anywhere in this country where you can rule with 1/3. Where does it end? What other board or agency of the province will be reduced to rubber stamp a provincial agenda? The people won't count or be represented if this bill is passed. Toronto City Council is full of new voices. It's the most representative city council of our diversity in the city than ever before. Bill 39 means those diverse voices, my voice, can't be heard. Toronto City Council will likely be denied the opportunity to discuss Bill 39 before it will be voted on in the Ontario Legislature, unless something changes in this committee, which it must. We've heard that mayors are voted by everyone. Well, this is not something, this 1/3 rule is not something that's available to a president. It's not available to any strong mayor in the United States. It just means absolute power with no checks. So I'm here to speak for myself, but I'm also here to speak for some of my colleagues with their permission. Asma Malik, Councillor for Spadina Fort York. Allowing for approval of new bylaws by only 1/3 of members of council is fundamentally undemocratic. From boardrooms to Parliament Hill to Queen's Park itself, having decisions made with less than a majority is out of the question. We have a housing affordability crisis in Toronto, and I welcome the urgency to address it from all levels. However, the Premier Ford's Bill 39 isn't about housing. It's a clear attack on local democracy. From Amber Morley, Councillor for Etobicoke Lakeshore. The residents of the City of Toronto have elected a council that finally begins to reflect the diversity of our city, and we must be given the opportunity to enact policy that considers the interests of those often left unheard. I believe the path forward requires a fulsome and collaborative process. This isn't about the mayor specifically. Quite frankly, I do not believe anybody should have these powers. The powers granted under Bill 39 fly in the face of the core principle of democracy. Decisions are made by a majority vote. Councillor Jamal Myers, Scarborough North, who also made a written submission. Toronto is in a housing crisis, and I strongly support using all reasonable tools to end it. However, allowing for the passage of bylaws with the vote of only 9 members of council is not the way to do it. For council to function effectively and to take the pressing issues facing our city, there must be mutual respect and trust between councillors and the mayor. Lily Cheng, Councillor for Willowdale. Bill 39, the Better Municipal Governance Act, is a threat to our democracy and in the wrong hands could threaten the future of our great city. We cannot guess who will be elected in years to come. The best governance comes from a place of mutual trust and respect. This type of unprecedented minority rule would break trust among leaders and with the public. I ran on a platform of engaging and empowering residents to participate in shaping our community. This act would diminish my ability to represent my constituents and will greatly multiply the cynicism and apathy I encountered at the door. For democracy to work, people need to know their voices matter. Please trust the principles of democracy that govern Canada and withdraw Bill 39. Gord Perks, Councillor for Parkdale High Park. On October 24, 31,353 residents of Ward 4 Parkdale High Park cast ballots in a free and fair election to choose a councillor to represent them on Toronto City Council. In secret and without consulting the public, Mayor John Tory and Premier Ford decided to propose changes to how effective I can be in representing them. Every one of those voters is being betrayed by this legislation. Councillor Paula Fletcher, Toronto Danforth. Bill 39 will impose a style of governing on our cities that is unprecedented, allowing a minority of council to impose legislation against the wishes of the majority of elected representatives. Nowhere in the world is there a system of democratic government where such minority rule exists. That's why all 5 former Toronto mayors have come out against it. Chris Moyse, Councillor, Toronto Centre. Bill 39 provides a route for minority rule in our city. This is an undemocratic move with no consultation of municipalities that are being forced to make these changes. Our council is a collaborative body. Imposing this legislation jeopardizes our democracy, not only for today, but also for our future. I hope to see this legislation rethought and repealed. You've just heard from 8 Toronto City councillors who want asking this government to withdraw Bill 39. And I just want to highlight that we were all elected on a mandate to build more housing. We will not stand in the way of that, and I think that the changes that have happened at Toronto City Council are reflective of the will of the people, because building more housing is a huge concern. But this isn't really about whether we build more housing. It's about whether we uphold the most basic principle of democracy and whether or not we're going to save our system from this breach of trust. Thank you.